The AMINOKART series opener about to get underway at the iconic JD Speedway venue. 8 drivers hungry and on the ready as they are on the starting grid right now to take the Kenseth Cup opening green flag. The AMINOKART, we saw, or at least I hope you saw, preseason thunder. Absolute insanity with those bonus items. How have they learned and how will they use those to their advantage here today? I'm Cater Jones, as you can see right around here-ish. That was awkward. Anyway, AMINOKART, it's quite the new series we have. Preseason thunder unfolded at Traxxas Super Circuit, 4 different races that occurred there, and drivers learned how to use bonus items. We're killing each other with them, and that is the goal that this series is trying to achieve, is nothing but intensity, aggression, and stupidity. And that is that and more guaranteed here as we begin the Kenseth Cup. Here's a refresher of the 32 competitors that are competing at AMINOKART and the 8 different teams that they are all on. I mean, just look at some of these names. There's lots of creativity. I mean, the preposterous pigeons, the crispy creamers, the sexy bean farts, epic gamers. I mean, there's just so much talent and so much creativity amongst the whole field, and their logos, man, just an absolute sight to look upon. Here is the Kenseth Cup course schedule. As aforementioned, the JD Speedway will tip things off here. The Fago figure 8 is going to be an absolute wild card. Just, I mean, every time you go to a figure 8, it's an absolute slugfest, or whatever word you want to use. Then we're going to the furry track style circuit. That'll be weird. And then road and raceway to cap things off. Talk about an intense cup. Well, that's the composition of tracks we're going to. Before we get going, as we take a look at the starting grid coming up, we have the team captain bonuses to go over. This was the lone rule change that was made after preseason thunder. And team captains will have that much more importance to every team because they will be the only ones eligible for their team to earn extra points according to how they finish. As you can see, they can earn up to 3 points for winning the race, up to 3 bonus points, that is, on top of the original points they get. I'm making this sound more confusing than it is, but trust me, all it is bonus points, alright? Got it? Okay, cool.
And now, it is time to review the starting grid here at JD Speedway. Starting way in the back is JD himself, JD Fatal in the number 29 Farmers Insurance Machine. For the preseason champs, Robust Aces. How will they claw their way to the front? And speaking of clawing their way to the front, Kyler Sustry will have to do the same on the back row starting in 7th for the Crispy Creamers. Also mired pretty far back is Paul Donnellan in the number 42 Tide Pods Machine. He is the team captain for his team for the Smart Carts. Another team captain starting on row 3, P5 will be Elon Solberg in that number 94 Mobile 1 Machine for the Explosive Emus. And then the Volcanic Asses will feature Kylie Greider in the number 8 car starting in P4. Alongside her will be Justin Ricci, team captain for the Preposterous Pigeons, starting 3rd. And then on the front row, we have KR in the sexy-looking Pennzoil Platinum number 32 car for the Sexy Bean Farts. And then on pole, the number 1 starting in P1, it is Tyler Paulson for the Epic Gamers. Pretty rough going in preseason thunder. Let's see if they can get traction going with the season starting. And here are some key track features before we begin today's race at JD Speedway. We have boost panels right off the gate around turn 1, a very wide corner, but around the outside, it can technically be faster if they utilize those boost panels. Really depends on how fast the outside turns out to be compared to the sharper inside lane. Then the speedy chicane, resembling the Indianapolis road course, the quick little left and right-hander, which heads into a hairpin, pretty tight there. We'll see how the drivers manage that. It might get pretty tight if they're side by side. And then the location of the easy access pits could cause controversy and accidents. It's right there out of the hairpin. We'll see how they manage it. The green flag flies in the first ever official AMINOKART race for the Kenseth Cup. Paulson and KR are already making contact, and more right there. Paulson out of the groove. Ricci goes around early on lap 1, but he will gather it back up. The 24 obtains a switcheroo early on. That could be very helpful later on. Lap 3, KR using the boost. Paulson's loose after using it. Gets drilled and upside down. Kylie Grider, what a nasty accident. Holy cow. Oh, and they spawn into the pits, and that clips KR. We talked about how that could be an issue there with the pit road there. Donald's going to use an oil slick he just got. Kill Sustry. Will he use the switcheroo? He does. KR. P3. Sustry is now after switching with KR. Now it's Solberg and Fatal for the lead. Solberg trying to hold on, but Fatal, that's his name. He's just trying to go for the lead. On the inside, gets swept around, and around he goes into the wall, but lands into a quick repair item. This is some pretty wild action, folks, and 3 to go in this race. Oh, and another accident right there. Grider and Paulson, and then KR's bad day continues. JD's still in third, by the way, after using that quick repair. Here comes Sustry. Turns Solberg upside down. He's going along the speed panels. He's going to get drilled by Paul Donlin. Oh, my God. What the heck? White flag in the air. Here comes Sustry and Fatal. It's a battle between them as they use the boost panels. Sideways and around goes JD. Oh, my God. Sustry is going to win this race. Had to hold off JD Fatal in the closing moments, and he defeats him at his own track. And he's going to go across the line. I believe scored third still, because so many cars were involved in accidents prior. But that was an absolutely insane race overall, and this is going to be a large highlight reel we have to go over right here. Paulson getting knocked out of the way on lap 1 in the hairpin. Ricci gets alongside him, makes contact, gets out of shape, and finished off by Kylie Grider. Sustry with a great avoidance there too, which helped him go on to win the race eventually. Look at this, Paulson just loses control over the speed panels, very high speed, and then Grider absolutely drills the 1. Well, that's one of the hardest drills you'll ever see into a race car. Then they spawn into the pits. KR does not expect it, gets clipped, and that's just bad luck. And speaking of bad luck, an oil slick dropped by the 482 right in the path of the 24. Intentional? Maybe. Bit of an aggressive move by Donlin, but then the switcheroo Sustry uses to switch with KR, who was in third. Another bad break for KR. And then they're side by side, come to, I think, 3 to go. Then JD just can't hang with them, makes contact, spins out into an item box, though, which allows him to do a quick repair once he hits that inside wall. I'm not even sure if he had to repair it because the damage is pretty minimal, but he took advantage of that. Very smart. You see here, he comes out just behind Sustry in third place in front of Donlin. Then Grider and Paulson wreck again, and KR just once again, just a day to forget for that 32 car after doing so well. Then Solberg gets turned upside down. Really mysterious how that car flipped. Then he's upside down going over the speed panels. That's wild. And then Donlin nowhere to go. Newman's the 94 Belon Solberg. But thankfully everyone is okay. And then the final lap. Fatal going for it. Hits the 24 a little bit. Gets out of shape. Wrecks. And the 24 keeps it straight. Nearly losing it himself. But he will gather it back up. And end up taking home the trophy here in race 1 of 4 of the Kenseth Cup. Here are those race results. Kyler Sustry with the full 10 points, and look at the bonus points assigned to the team captains. Ricci gets a +2, as well as Paul Donlin for finishing in the top 4, and then Elon Solberg finishing 5th will get 1 bonus point. So that will, in fact, shake up the standings a little bit based off of what they were compared to the results here. Paulson and Grider, terrible day for those guys. And here are those standings. Due to the bonus points obtained by Ricci, they will be tied with Krispy Kremers on top, both with 10 points. The Robust Aces doing solidly in P3 with the Smart Carts as well, both having 6 points. Then the Emus with 4 points, the Bean Farts with 2, the Epic Gamers with 1 singular point, and the Volcanic Asses with a rough start, getting nothing today. The Fago Figure 8 is our next destination, and when you hear figure 8, you think of chaos, and that's exactly what you should expect heading into the next AMINOKART race. We'll see you there.